All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another GVN coffee break with Tia and Brittany. This is our second episode. Yay!
Yay! I thought you were gonna say Tia and Tamara for a second,
Stop.
and I was like,
you know that's
dude.
something. You know that's something that has plagued me my whole life.
I know, but for some reason when you were like with Tia and I was like, don't say it.
Stop.
Don't say it.
Can I tell you really quick? When I was in college, I actually met a Tamara, and we kind of bonded over, and we bonded over the fact that our whole lives people have just been making that joke. And it's like,
I'm gonna say, I think I saw Tamara on and that's her real name, right?
Yeah,
it was really Tia Tamara.
Tia and Tamara are real sisters, I think.
Yeah, well, I knew they were twins. They're twins, but I was thinking I didn't know if that was like actually their names or they just did it for the show. But she did one of those like where they do like that, like
that TikTok.
And they were like, oh, are you getting back together for the like for a show? She's like, no more.
Because I feel like everything from the 90s is having a reunion. Like Friends had their reunion. And so
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a reboot. It was literally just a special where the actors got together and just talked about the legacy of Friends, I suppose. So maybe they were like, hey, since everything 90s is coming back, let's bring Tia and Tamara back. But I wanted to say before we go any further, your makeup, gorgeous right now.
Whatever. I put this on at 6 this morning. I am disgusting.
Well, it's lasted this whole time and it looks gorgeous.
It was like the beauty pageants I used to do where it's like, I never was one of those kids though.
Beauty pageants.
Your mom was savage, but I loved it.
Wait, I have to say, when I'm editing this, I'm gonna put the picture up. So
yeah, put the picture.
Brittany put, so you can see here when I put it here, that Brittany put on Twitter, like, you know, pretty much a picture from her pageant days, and you pretty much invited people to roast you.
Yeah, I said if you need a good laugh today, look, I was like look at this long ass neck or something, like basically like dang, how's it so long? Because to keep in mind, I was like, I'm still pretty small, but it's like I was like 80 something pounds back then. Like you can see my arms. Yeah, you could like fit your whole hand around my arms. But I don't know if it was just something about being skinny where I was just like, it doesn't look that long now.
It looked like you were really trying to like stretch yourself and your hair was super short, so I think that's why
it was. Because you have to like keep your because mom was always like, keep your shoulders back, don't know this back, and I was like, and Ainsley's like she's like, I just think your neck looks very elegant like a swan, and I was like,
yeah. So Brittany Brittany posted this picture online, and keep in mind Brittany and I have been friends for like 7-8 years now. My mom is a fucking savage. She just is. And my mom knows Brittany quite well, so she commented underneath going, ET phone home. And it's like,
yeah, she's like, damn, ET phone home. And I was like but you instantly were like, I'm sorry, and I was like, no, I was like, that's what I wanted. I could laugh about. Okay, if I ever got partnered on Twitch, you get more emotes. I would literally do like an emote chain where people, like, it would just be a section of my neck and that head, so that people could just put the head and start commenting the neck and see how long they can make it without it getting broken.
I love that. I'm sorry for eating. It's just we're doing this late, and I haven't gotten to eat today. And this is a very chill podcast. Would you agree, Brittany?
You know, I was watching like mukbang videos when I was waiting for Aaron to get home with the asparagus, and I was just like, but did they eat like those like crab boil where it's just like it's just soaking in like that spicy juice? I'm like, oh, and Aaron's like, I don't know how you watch that, because you know he doesn't like smacking and he can't stand it, like grosses him out. And I said, no, it has to be like a very particular kind of like ASMR video for me, like where it's very clean almost. Like, yeah, like I can't stand like when it's all over their face and they're like, oh, and it's like.
So you mean like Nikocado avocado?
Yeah, no, not like that. No, thank you. Wham bam, no thank you, ma'am.
Wham bam, no thank you, ma'am. But yeah, so this is our second episode of the coffee break, and we both have our coffee mugs with us. Come on, Brittany,
Yes.
show it off. Show it
Yeah,
off.
yeah. My little
And
clay cup.
by the way, GVN merch. I'll link it down below. Yes, we are doing plugs
Hell
right now.
yeah.
We're doing plugs right
oh
now.
God. Oh, Joanne's gonna kill me.
Why?
I never sent him that logo.
Fail. Fail.
I'm a failure at life. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Brittany. I love you anyway. So like we did in our last coffee break, we talk about topics. Last coffee break, we only really spoke about one topic, which was Brendan Fraser. So I mean, I feel as if he needed his own episode, realistically, you know. So that was okay. But this episode, we're doing two topics. One that I pick, one that Brittany picks, and just because I'm older, I'm gonna go first. Sorry, Brittany.
Oh my gosh, this is like when my brother would make me sit in the back seat. I was permanently banished to the back seat until I was the only older sibling in the house. And then it was me. And my little brother was always like, why can't I sit up front? I'm like, it's your turn, boy. It's your turn.
It's your
turn.
But so the topic that I feel like this episode, and I don't feel like we did it on purpose, is going to be about drama.
It's very dramatic. I don't know anything about that.
Mine being in the entertainment field, yours being in like the YouTube field. So let me start this off, right? So it's the Scarlett Johansson versus Disney thing. Do you know anything about this, Brittany?
Okay, this is as far as I've understood it so far, is that wasn't it that they agreed to pay her a certain amount, but she agreed to a certain percentage because she was going to get a cut of whatever the box office made in the theater, but not streaming wise. So under that agreement, that's why there was that big thing about, I guess that's why they weren't initially going to do just streaming already, because if they had done that, it maybe had done something with the box office. Maybe that was a big reason. So they make all this hubbub about it, and then they release them both at the same time. And obviously, with everything going on, people are going to normally stream it. I streamed it.
Yeah,
like I watched it online, and there's not hardly anybody I know that went to the box office, and so Scarlett Johansson was suing them because that really hurt her money wise, but they just played her off as greedy when really it's just like, you don't want to get, I understand her point of view. I can't believe they made her look selfish and stuff with it, but I can't think in a world where I would be okay with that.
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of summed it up perfectly. Just to reiterate, it's that so Scarlett Johansson sued Disney because she's like, hey, we never negotiated my contract. My contract is from years ago, before like this pandemic even happened, and you never sat down with me to talk about the fact that it was going to stream and that we should change things around. And Disney instantly was like, you're selfish, there's a pandemic going on, how could you be so cruel, you know, blah blah. And
Scarlett hurting on money.
And Scarlett Johansson's firing back like, it's not that. Like, I understand that it had to go to streaming, but not for nothing, Disney renegotiated with The Rock when they had to put his movie Jungle Cruise on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They renegotiated with Emma Stone when they put Cruella on Disney Plus. So Scarlett Johansson's like, well, where's that same sort of mentality when it comes to me? That's her issue. And so,
because this movie was late anyways in the game.
Exactly. And so then now the reports are that Disney is trying to settle this out of court. And now at this point, Scarlett Johansson's lawyer is like, no. You're trying to now sweep this under a rug because you look really bad because you made some comments that really were just really ugly towards an actress who has been an actress that's been underneath your umbrella for like the past 12 or 13 years. No, we're going to court with this.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just like, I was thinking, just like, because since this episode seems to be so dramatic, I guess to
So
think back,
dramatic.
it's like, do you not think Disney, like when there's like a celebrity or someone and they sit there and they're perfectly good and fine and everybody loves them, but they have a dark past and every now and then it gets brought up and people are
Mhm.
like, no, 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 they've changed. But it's like, I would say Disney's got some pretty dark skeletons in their closet. If you like look back, I was like, if you really look back, I was like, dang.
Well, so the thing is, it's like their argument is, well, Scarlett Johansson's already made money. And it's like, I get that. You and me, right? We would love to
Yeah.
get the 20 million that she's gotten already,
Yeah.
right? You're like, what more does she need? But to quote Bob's Burgers, it's the principle of the matter. It's the fact that freaking like Disney Plus, as big of a conglomerate as they are, shouldn't be able to get away with doing dirty shit simply because a pandemic is going on, so that's our excuse, and B, well, you've already made money, what more than you want? And it's like, well, I want my contract to be
Yeah.
amended, just like you amended your contract for The Rock and Emma Stone.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the principle of the matter is like how I've lived my entire existence. I probably have screamed that so
It's
many
the
times.
principle of the
It's the
thing.
principle of the matter. Like I know it's not that big of a deal, but it's the principle. They
Yeah,
can't
and
let things go.
I think that's the whole thing with this Scarlett Johansson and Disney thing, where it's like it's the principle of the matter. It's not really like, yes, it is money, obviously, but I think
Yeah,
for her, she's like, I've been in the MCU since the second Iron Man movie. I've, brought in, I'm an Oscar winning actress who has been
yeah,
in this whole thing. I've waited for my solo movie. It had to get pushed back, understandably so. But now
yeah,
that it's finally released, it's like you're not even really caring about it. And already, I feel like you had to convince audiences to kind of care about the movie. We care about it, but
yeah,
it's a prequel. Her character is dead, and already Scarlett Johansson is kind of a controversial figure on her
yeah.
own. So it's like Disney not renegotiating a contract with her hurt her already. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
No, I agree. And I was gonna say, and that movie was so good. Can we say
It
that
was.
real quick? Because there's been plenty of Marvel movies, no matter of like, I still think they're great. I just think some are better than others. I think some were a little lazy, some were a little X, Y, and Z. But I think what's hard is like with that movie, it was just too little too late. Like it was probably one of my better liked ones, like high middle, because I don't know. It felt like early Marvel. Not
Well,
earlier Marvel, but it felt different. It felt dangerous. It felt like I got legitimately scared of the villain. I was like, this dude's messed up. And also how badass Natasha was when she freaking breaks her like spoiler
she breaks her own nose so that she
no.
could fight against the bad guy. And it's like, as
Yeah.
you said, it to me it there's a few movies in the MCU that kind of break the mold. The Winter Soldier pops up, and that movie, Black Widow,
Yeah.
because it was edgy, it talked about real trauma. Like, to me, one of the best parts is when Yelena is like telling Alexei and Melina, like, you were my real parents. And then suddenly it was all said to me that it was fake, or
Yeah.
not for nothing. Even when, to me, I remember telling Kelly, I'm like, I can't believe they put this in a Marvel movie. When Alexi's like, oh, is it your time of the month? And Yelena, without skipping a beat, goes, oh no, they took our uterus out,
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, you think because it's Disney they're gonna skirt around shit like that? But I really appreciated that.
Well, what I liked about it is whenever the villain says, what is the one resource, we have too much of? And it's like girls that people aren't gonna notice missing, like basically. And I was like, oh, that's
That's
pretty
really
messed
fucked
up.
up.
That was really dark. You know what I mean? That was really dark for the sorry, I have like this hair right here that don't know where I want to go. And I keep like You go right there,
You
right
go
there.
right there. No, I agree with you. And when you watch the movie and they're doing the opening credits and it's all those young girls in the shipping containers, it broke my heart.
It
It
gave
broke
me
my
chill.
heart.
Like it felt scary.
Yeah, so I mean, I hated the whole thing where people are like, "Oh, who really cares about this movie?" And I'm like, "Well, I've always really liked the character of Natasha, you know?"
Yeah.
And so I was happy that she got her movie. It was nice seeing background story. And we got Alexi, who is awesome. We now have Yelena. Clearly, this movie was like a passing of the torch
I
sort of movie, and I love her.
I didn't think I was gonna like Yelena. I thought I was gonna hate her.
Really?
I legitimately because sometimes when they make like a fierce female character, they
Mhm.
almost get like typecasted where they're always like, I'm so edgy, you betrayed me. And it's like, no, she was fun. She was playful. She was still a part of that little girl of what she was at the beginning, so excited about things. And I don't know, I just appreciate it because and I'm not beefing on like the characters that are like that because there is like people IRL that are like that, but I
Yeah.
think it's hard when it's like you try too hard to make them like, I'm so edgy, and it's like, no. That's like what I love when Yelena like looks at Natasha and she's like, why do you do that thing? And
Oh,
she's
that
like,
pose,
what
and she's
thing?
like,
Yeah, and she like gets it down, and she's like hurt, so she still like slowly gets down on the ground. And all I can think of is, what is this cashier thinking right now?
I my favorite part with Yelena is when she's like, because again, she has that really thick Russian accent, and she's kind of dry and cynical, but she's geeking out about having a vest with pockets. And she's like, there's so many pockets. I love this thing. And it's like, and when Natasha's like, I like your vest, and she's like, I knew you thought it was cool.
Oh, when they like flash back like the vest thing, and you're like at the end with the I wonder if Yelena got snapped away.
I don't know. They never really like went through that, if that was a thing or not. That is
I still
interesting.
I still want to know if Eternals got snapped away.
Oh my god, can we talk really quickly, by the way, about the
Yes.
Eternals trailer? Because
Icarus is so cool.
so that's the thing, like,
so cool.
wait. Can I tell you, like, really quick? Like, us as Marvel fans, we're spoiled because it's like, we've had all these characters for so long, like Iron Man and Captain America and stuff like that. So now that like Endgame's over and they're introducing all these characters, people I see online who are like, oh, who really cares? We have Black Widow, who's about a character who's dead. And then we have Shang-Chi, and he's a character that people don't know, and no one knows who the Eternals are. And I'm like, do you guys not remember that we probably didn't know who half of these freaking characters were beforehand? Like, I'm sorry, I had no idea who the hell Iron Man was, or the only Thor I knew was from my cousin, and it was the mythological Thor. So I'm like, oh, there's a comic book Thor. Okay.
I was gonna say like with okay, in theory, okay,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of characters that I did not think I would think they were as cool as they were. I still don't much care for the Hulk. I just don't care. I think Bruce Banner is cool, but I just, I don't think like Thor Ragnarok was cool, but I didn't think I was gonna like Ant-Man. Everybody was skeptical. They're like,
They're like,
Ant-Man,
Ant-Man, that's
really?
so dumb. And then
yeah,
it's like,
that's so.
and he becomes one of your
Like he
favorite characters.
shrinks. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, but he's cool. And then like with Iron Man, this is what I was saying. Like in theory, he is just a rich man in a suit, but they gave him life.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And it's like, so I've seen Shang-Chi, and I'm just saying, I love the character. I love the actor now who's played him. And I'm like, I always bring back to the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Because by the time we got the first Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like, okay, we had Iron Man, we had Cap, we had Thor, and we had Black Widow. And we're like, okay, we have our core people now. We just want to keep seeing them. And they're like, Marvel's like, no, we're going to give you a movie about a group of people that you have no idea who they are, and they don't even take place on Earth. And I'm like, who the hell are these people? Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm still jealous.
I'm just saying, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is still one of my favorite freaking like Marvel movies of all time. So I'm like, and then you bring in the Eternals, and I'm like, yo, first of all, the star power the star power in the Eternals. You got Salma
Yeah.
Hayek, Angelina Jolie, freaking Richard Madden. You have Kit Harington. So Game of Thrones people, what up and everything. You know what I'm saying?
But
Eternals looks fucking great.
I didn't expect to think all of them so cool. What I was saying is I was so jealous that you saw the movie. I'm happy for you.
Oh, you're jealous that I saw
Happy for you.
Shang-Chi?
Yes. But that like I will admit I wasn't well, not that I didn't care about the Eternals. I just was like, okay, time to get my heart broken again. Time for another story that's going to hurt me, or it's either going to be really good or new characters that, because, you're like, you have so many new characters thrown at you. Give me a reason to care about you like I did for Iron Man and Cap and all the others, right? But I watched it and the thought of like these cool immortal beings that just really loved humanity and decided to take them under their wing and be good to them, but also how draining that could be. Icarus is just like he looks 1,000% done like all the time.
No, I mean, again, I didn't know who Guardians of the Galaxy was. I didn't know why we should care. And so when they announced the Eternals, I'm like, yeah, I don't know who they are, but I'm pretty excited to meet a new group of, powerful beings. And I'm sorry that as soon as the freaking trailer dropped, Paulie was at work and I sent him the trailer and I was like, you have to watch this now.
No, my gosh. I know you were like on me. I was like, I would keep forgetting, and you would be like, Brittany,
because I thought that
you have to.
Because okay, we're talking about how Black Widow kind of breaks the mold of Marvel movies, and I think that the Eternals looks like something like we haven't seen in a Marvel movie. Like, to me, the costumes look amazing, the filmography looks beautiful, and their powers just look so cool. I mean, you know how much of a fan of Angelina Jolie I am. So when I saw her and she can literally make weapons, and I'm just like, I love this so much.
I was reading about the Eternals, and it's cool that like the reason they're immortal is because they can like basically change their molecular makeup and have full control of their body and what it can do and how it can function. And did you know that a lot of them can mind read?
Mm-hmm.
That like with Icarus, I looked at him specifically because you can tell who we're most obsessed with. He can read like momentary thoughts, like very surface level.
Well, so the thing is, I had read, and Juwan pointed this out during his and Trayvon's review of the trailer, that in the comics they all have the same powers, and you can kind of see that they all have similar, like they can all fly, right? And they could all, and they're all immortal essentially. But then I guess in this movie, they're like, let's differentiate them a little. Like Thena, played by Angelina Jolie, can make weapons. Icarus clearly has the ability to like do mind lasers.
He got laser beavers.
Everyone's calling him like the Superman of the MCU.
I know. You know what's funny? It's if Marvel went, DC, we know you've been having some trouble, and we're gonna come over here and we'll just make our own Superman. We
just need to make our own Superman. Yeah.
No, I joke though. I haven't seen the new Suicide Squad, but I hear it's really good.
I liked it. I thought Rick Flag was really good in it, and actually one of the best characters controls rats. So yeah.
Oh, I saw that in the trailer. She looked cute.
She's honestly like she's called Rat Catcher 2 because her father was Rat Catcher 1. And she's honestly,
oh my gosh.
And she's honestly the best character in the freaking film. She's so good. Like
when
she's so
rat reaches to shake hands and he's like,
she's so soft. Can I tell you, there's this one scene, right, where they're like sitting, and so I think you saw in the trailer King Shark is involved.
Yeah.
And this isn't really a spoiler, but like they're all kind of sleeping, and they get woken up because the rat is like pointing out that King Shark is trying to like eat Ratcatcher 2. And so when they're woken up, she's like, you wouldn't eat your friend, would you? And King Shark's like, I don't have friends. And she's like, well, can I be your friend? And then you don't have to. And she's like, And everyone's like, why would you believe him? He's literally a sentient shark. And she's like, well, if I die, then at least I died, betting on love or something like that. And I'm like,
Oh
I
my
love
god,
him.
how is she a villain? What did she do?
She, she was down on her luck and she used her rats to steal, and they literally counted it as armed robbery. So like that,
She's too soft for this world.
she's so adorable. She's honestly, like, as I said, one, like, probably the best character in the freaking movie The Suicide Squad. So I loved her. But yeah, I was gonna say, definitely I'm obsessed with Richard Madden in The Eternals because I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, even though the last season sucked. But he played Robb Stark and he was really good in it, but he showcased his like acting talents in the Netflix show Bodyguard. I thought that was amazing. Like, I thought that was really good. And I think I even heard that a big reason why he got this role in the Marvel movie is because they saw what he did in Bodyguard and they were like, oh wow, he's really good. He could play a physical role. He's got all these emotions. I wanted to say really quick that there's a rumor apparently online. I don't think it's true, but I'm just pointing it out there.
Yeah.
There's a rumor that Icarus is supposed to be like the traitor in the movie, because apparently in the comics,
we love a villain.
In the comics, there another character, Droog, I think his name is. You see him in the trailers at some point, but he's the traitor in the comics. But people are thinking that maybe it's Icarus, because in the comics, Icarus is apparently best friends with the Speed Runner in the Eternals. But based on the trailer, it looks like Droog is taking that place as the best friend of the Speed Runner. So they're like, what if Icarus takes that place? I don't want that actually to happen, because you know how Marvel is with their villains.
They kill them. They kill all of them.
So I'm like, I want Richard Madden to be in the MCU for a while. So I don't want him to be a villain for that reason.
No, now I did think of it. And if he goes bad, I want him. I don't know. I just want him to be like, I talk about sometimes. I'm like, I want a character that's like cold but like intense, and I'm like, and so when you started showing me Icarus and you were like, look how cool he is, I was like, I need someone forlorn on humanity, and like, I need this.
Well, it's supposed to be like, so the whole big aspect of the movie, they say, is going to be the love triangle between Icarus, Cersei, and the Black Knight, who's played by Kit Harington, Jon Snow. And the whole thing is supposed to be that Cersei like loves humanity and she really cares for them. And Icarus, while he cares for humanity, he's kind of become distant from them due to just living for so long. So a lot of the things that they're saying is that they drift apart due to his like aloofness, and that's why she then, I guess, starts falling for the Black Knight, because it's like he is a human. And so I think, but yeah, Jon Snow's in it, in case you didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know that. I was like, oh, we got both brothers.
We got the brothers. House Stark is in the house.
So Aaron was telling me how he had an ex. He was like, she was just obsessed with Robb Stark, like just absolutely obsessed. And I was like, I think
if you ask any Game of Thrones fan, they'll all say that Robb Stark was the better, like he was a better strategist and he should have been king, which is why it was tragic that he was killed off. It's like Jon Snow in reality could not take the place of Robb Stark.
He was donezo.
But if you like villains, you're gonna like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, because Tony Leung, who plays the main villain in the character, is so good. So good.
I need it.
I love it. Oh my god. By the way, sorry, shameless plug here, my review for Shang-Chi is up on GVN right now, so I'm gonna put that down in the description. Sorry, I don't mean to brag. I don't
mean to brag, but I just like I get all the cool stuff because I'm such a like great person.
Well, I will say I got to see Black Widow in the theaters, so I was happy about that. And then I saw Shang-Chi, and I hope that I get to see the Eternals. I'm waiting for that email to say that I can go see it.
I was sitting here and I looked at the date real quick because we were talking about like stuff coming out, and I realized I'm so close to coming to New York, and then we could just binge Marvel movies. Yes. I need it. Oh, just don't judge me when I'm doing homework at your house.
Oh, it's okay. I don't care about that.
She don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit.
I don't want to do it.
But before we move on to your topic, let's circle back around really quick about the Scarlett Johansson Disney thing. So, what's your conclusion here? Like with it?
I think it's like I want to know if it's just cut and dry. That was their negotiation. And, she said, you really messed me up with this because you're doing the streaming thing. I think she deserves what she was owed for it. And if she had tried to reach out to him when she realized that was the decision that they were making and they didn't want to renegotiate and they messed with her this way, then I think, if there's nothing else for them to go out and be like, oh, she's greedy, we already paid her this much. It's like, you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't do it for everybody else and just not do it for one person because, X, Y, and Z are like, oh, well, we don't need you anymore. And I think that's the big thing is that they're thinking, well, she ran her course. This was her last movie. And like, because with The Rock and everybody else, they can use them again. But with her, they're probably thinking it's Marvel. We already done so much. It's fine. It's cool to burn this bridge.
Yeah, which is really kind of messed up. I will admit, so Emma Stone, who led the movie Cruella, they're doing a sequel. So of course they don't want to burn that bridge with her because they want her back. And of course The Rock is The Rock, so they want him back.
They used him for Moana. They used him for, Jumanji. Well, that was Disney made, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Jungle Cruise just came out.
Yeah, Jungle Cruise.
So yeah, no, it totally makes sense in that case. But Disney, I'll say one last thing before we go to your topic. Disney has definitely been putting their foot in their mouth lately, because not only the whole thing with Scarlett Johansson, but they came under fire recently with Shang-Chi, because the CEO of Disney pretty much called the movie an experiment or something like that. It was just really weird. And so then the main actor, Simu Liu, obviously fired back saying, we're not an experiment. That's kind of messed up. And I'm like, why is Disney sticking their foot in their mouth lately?
I would say, especially with their past, you think they would be a little more careful, because they're always trying to sweep things under the rug of all the other stuff. So
their problematic past.
Yeah, their problematic past, and it's haha, let's create some more problematic present to go along with it.
Because Warner Brothers has some pretty problematic stuff going on, that they're being accused of. So it's you'd think Disney would want to
what are they being accused of?
Well, they're being accused of being racist, essentially. So it's when you have Warner Brothers being viewed in that light, you would think Disney would be this is our chance to come up on top. And it's they're just digging their own grave. Both of these studios are just digging their own grave.
Call it an experiment? It's just a movie. It's a movie with these characters. It's I don't know. People are crazy.
They are crazy. But so let's move on from movie industry drama to talk about YouTube drama.
I know. Wait, I have the
really. What do you have? And we've never really talked about YouTube drama on GVN, but let's move into more of a pop culture space, because that's we're trying things out here on Coffee Break. So there you
I
go,
think it was
Brittany.
just nice that we've got to talk about like really anything that's come to mind. And I think a big thing for us is like with the top 10, we did realize it's like some of the funnest times we've had is when we go on our little side tangents, because one thought leads to another, blah, blah, blah. It's nice for this podcast. We can just kind of go on. And I think one thing that me and Tia have talked about like a lot in the background is like, I love listening to YouTube drama. I wouldn't like to be a part of YouTube drama. And I do have a lot of sympathy for people that are put on the middle of like the stage to be like, oh, look, all of this out to air. But some of it's kind of like they did it to themselves sometimes, especially in the case of frenemies. Because who would have thought that a podcast about two people that just really didn't like each other would end so poorly? I could have never guessed it.
That was
And now it,
actually, before you move on and you keep going, that was the funny thing for H3H3 for Ethan Klein's birthday. He did like a roast episode, like pretty much had people come on and roast him. And pretty much everyone like made the thing where they were like, yeah, whoever knew that frenemies would end terrible. And it's like, we all did.
we all did, and it's like, I try to think, because I feel like sometimes it's like when you talk about it too, you almost have to be careful because it's so like it's such a sensitive subject when there's like, especially with family. And I think their breakup wouldn't be near as bad if it wasn't for the fact that with Trisha dating, Gila's brother, it kind of brings it back home. Like you always seen plenty of podcasts. Like I think so Keem used to have one with Tommy C and it was a Colossal Clown. I can't remember. And they had a horrible breakup. But and as bad as it would have been, at least it wasn't, family. You can just cut ties and be done with it. You have your YouTube drama, that's it. But to have it go home with you, like I think about my own brother and I'm like, man, it would really suck. It would really suck if like he was dating my worst enemy ever and every like family event I had to see them at. It's like it just makes it so much more and for a long time I thought it was just a bit. I thought it was a bit. I thought it was to sell merch because they kept doing this whole thing like, oh, but we did just get this merch and we really need to move it, and I thought it was weird that they were putting such like kind of a push on that. I was like, oh, they're just doing this. But the moment I realized it was real was when Trisha went on Keemstar's podcast. I went, oh, it's over. Like, this isn't a bit. This isn't a bit at all.
I don't know if you see, there's a TikTok account that's like the contradictions of Trisha. And it was like,
oh my gosh.
And it was a year ago, Trisha Paytas like tweeted out saying that she would only ever go on Keemstar's podcast if she literally hit the bottom of the barrel and like was pretty much at the end of the rope in her career, and she was that desperate, and people are like, so I guess you were that desperate, huh?
Yeah. And she even made the point that she was like, I stay in the public eye by appearing on other people's stuff, and that is what keeps me relevant. And I was like, I get that. In a way, I do think she's a smart businesswoman. I don't think she's stupid with a lot of things, but I think she went down the route of Keemstar where it's like, oh, if I'm super controversial, I'm always going to be in somebody's mouth. And when you're always that bad, nobody's surprised by anything. A lot of the people that we see get canceled a lot of time is that they put on this very proper appearance, very like, they're very, like this is the way things are because they're good. It's good to be like this. And then you look in their past, you're like, that seems a little hypocritical. But when it's people that are like constantly like this, it's hard to destroy. Because I'm never going to be surprised. I'm never going to be surprised.
So I will say this right away. Like Brittany and I think differently on the whole Trisha Paytas thing, because I'm just gonna put this out right now. I highly dislike her. I can't say that I hate her because hate's a strong word and I don't know her personally, but I highly dislike her. And I've actually really never watched a Frenemies episode because it's just, I can't deal with someone like that. I can't deal with someone like that. And the whole like bad press is good press thing, I don't want to live my life like that. So you see someone
Yeah.
who's clearly living their life as like, oh, even if I'm doing all these controversies, at least I'm staying relevant. And I'm like, I feel sad for you that that's how you feel like you
No.
have to like live your life. So so
I don't like her either. I'm just saying, like, I see what she's doing and why she's doing it. But it's kind of like back to the Nikocado avocado thing. Cause he literally that's my Trisha Paytas.
yeah, no, he's just like I can't. He's disgusting. I can't watch him either.
I gotta say, like, I used to. The reason I started listening to, like, when I was always like working or painting or doing something, or like doing furniture for my parents, one thing that always got me is I would kind of like put up a podcast or like something to listen to or a watch, and any of the Nikocado avocado ones, I could not watch. I could listen to them up to a point that it was just like it was so I don't know, it caused like a primal instinct in me. It was fight or flight, Tia. It was fight or flight.
Because it's like, and I'm sorry for the freaking sirens in the background.
They're burning down Yonkers.
It's Yonkers. There's always going to be sirens in the background. I was going to say though, whatchamacallit, it's like you've never seen someone act that way around food. And so when he's doing his mukbangs, it's so gross that it's like, you know, because, you know, a whole thing about mukbangs is that you sit there and you say, get jealous of the food that they're eating. Or you're sitting there going, oh, wow, I wish I could eat that much. And
it turns me off of food.
But when he eats, you're like, I never want to eat again, ever.
Yeah. No. But it's like, between that and like with the Trisha thing, I'm just like, and I know even speaking about it is like giving, you know, exactly what you want for that situation. But I think for like watching it, I'm just like, there is a part of me that's like, I like listening about it, and that makes me kind of feel bad.
It's a train wreck, and you can't help it.
It's a train wreck.
It's like when it's like when you're driving on the highway and you see a car crash on the other side of the road, and you're like, "Oh man, that sucks so badly," and you're like, "But I need to see what's going on there."
Like, what's going on? It's just like, I don't know why I was like, I don't want to talk about this because it seems like it gets so intense, and I wonder sometimes if it was a bit that just got out of control.
It may have well been a bit that got out of control. You just never know with like Trisha Paytas. Yeah. And I don't mean to sit here and say like, oh my god, I'm like 100% taking H3H3 side, even though I kind of am. Because
I want to say you really she loves H3.
But I could understand when, like, say, Ethan Klein does something incorrect. You know, there has been things that he said that I don't agree with. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it's not like I think he's this perfect dude either. But in the sense of, like, his argument with Trisha, it's like, it does suck because she has come into their life and she seems like this really destructive person. I will say this right now. So people like Trisha, H3H3, and a lot of the people that they hang around or even have beef with, like Keemstar, you know, are so ingrained in like the YouTube pop culture. And I had no idea who the hell they were up until like a year ago. Like,
me too.
And I've watched YouTube since it came.
Yeah.
I'm freaking 31. I'm right at the age where like everyone, you know, when we were teenagers, we were the ones who were on YouTube. So it's like, you know, I've never seen any of these people on YouTube, but apparently they've had, you know, this huge relationship they've been on, you know, and da 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 da. So it's like, I don't know where I was going with that, but my whole point is saying it's like now I'm so invested in like watching it. Oh, the whole thing is like I was reading up on Trisha Paytas, and she seems to do this a lot. Like she has had what?
I was thinking of all the videos I've listened to her. Could I get on like tangents? she identified as a chicken nugget.
Well, it's not just that, because I don't want to really talk about like her identity or anything, because that could get.
Oh no, I'm just saying the chicken nugget part.
The chicken nugget.
Yeah, because it's so ridiculous.
I'm just talking about like apparently, you know, she's had these sort of dramas with an ex-boyfriend in the past, you know, and it's like it seems like her relationships, whether they be romantic or platonic, always seem to crash and burn. And I think a huge part of it comes from the fact that I really think she just wants to be with Ethan Klein. There was this whole supercut.
Oh my gosh.
There was this whole supercut of every time Trisha Paytas has tried to hit on Ethan, him like refuting her advances and her just pretty much saying like, no, you do want me. And he's like, please believe me when I tell you I don't. And like even times when he tries to bring up the fact that his wife is pregnant, Trisha dismissing that. And it's like, why would she be so eager to dismiss the fact that like her future sister-in-law is pregnant? Wouldn't she be happy for her? And it's like, I think it's because Gila has what Trisha wants, and what Trisha wants is Ethan.
So she's like, I'm gonna get with your brother.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that is, yeah. That was a big thing too, is on that note, and I know I bring up the Keemstar stuff, but it's like you kind of can't bring up one without the other. Even Keemstar said that, because Trisha was all over him wanting to be with him.
Was she?
Yes. Like
that's
bad.
the key.
Yeah. And so that was like a big thing. It's like, he was always like, I'm not gonna fuck you. And she's like, I don't want to fuck you. And like he brought up all these videos of like where she's like basically drooling over him, and he's like, yeah.
Well, and I want to bring up, I don't know if you want to bring it up, but I will say this. With the end of Trisha Paytas and Ethan, it's getting even uglier, right?
Oh my God, yes.
Trisha brought up, not for nothing, that they filmed the last episode of Frenemies. And I will say and yes, I like H3H3, so I am taking their side a little, but I like that Ethan just puts it out there. Because Trisha has this thing where she tries to like clickbait people, where she's like, oh, we filmed another episode of Frenemies, but it's never going to be put out, so can't talk about it. Or, Donna Klein texted me something that's so evil and vile, but I can't talk about it. So it gets people like, oh, what's she talking about? What's the drama? And Ethan's like,
yeah.
And Ethan just puts it out there going, yeah, we did film the last episode of Frenemies, and it went fucking sideways, and it was so ugly. And he goes, and yeah, my mom did text Trisha Paytas, Ma, would you like to tell them what you said? And it's like, so
I didn't realize the mom was the one that straight up showed the message.
Yeah,
I thought Trisha exposed it.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Trisha's trying to weaponize it because she is strategic. She is strategic in that sense. She says, oh, I can't talk about it now. I can talk about it in a few months, though. So it gets all of us sitting there wondering, oh, my God, what did Donna say?
Because she wants to pull it out later on. So she's like, I got these little pockets of drama.
Yeah, I got these little pockets of, blackmail that I can put out.
Like a squirrel, like putting away their nuts for the winter. Like, just like this, I'm going to use this for later on.
It kind of reminded me of the whole thing with Nikki Tutorials last year, where, she was being blackmailed by, I think, a former photographer who was going to expose the fact that
it was a journalist.
You could be right. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Yeah.
But it was someone like holding over her head that he had this information and he was going to put it out there and was weaponizing it. And Nikki Tutorials is like, you know what? Fuck you. Then I'm just going to come out and say I'm transgender. And it completely and I think that's what Ethan's doing, is that he's like, I'm getting in front of this so that you can't weaponize it against me.
Yeah.
But do you want to talk, is there specifics you want to talk about with this? Do you want to talk about the Donna Klein thing?
Oh, I know. I get nervous should we just about go
all in?
I do get nervous, but I was like, that was pretty fucked up to say. But I think for me and Tia, it's like we come from different sides of the US. And I don't know if it's that or just like the savagery of it. Because what I try to think how to say it. I gotta just say it. It's like you said, you're like, that would be a common thing to be said, all
right,
like it wouldn't surprise you.
I'll come out and say it. Trisha was going on and on about the fact that Donna Klein, who's Ethan Klein's mother, sent Moses, Trisha's fiance, who's Gila's. Here, for those who don't, because they're like, man, this is a Geek Vibes Nation podcast, so I don't know who these people are. Ethan Klein is married to Gila Klein. Gila has a brother, Moses, and Trisha is engaged to Moses, right? And Gila right now is pregnant, and apparently the pregnancy was quite difficult to happen. You know, they
Yeah.
were very upfront in the fact that it was very difficult for Gila to get pregnant. Um, and so Trisha, being the nuclear like bomb that she is, you know, causing all this problems and everything. Ethan's mom, who that's her grandchild in Gila's stomach, texted Moses. By the way, Trisha's trying to say they're strangers. You don't even know them. Ethan and Gila have been together for like 15 years. Donna was like, they've been over our house like numerous times throughout the years. You're the stranger in this. So anyway,
Yeah, you're the stranger.
so Donna just texted Moses going, you know, Moses, your sister is pregnant. If anything happens to the pregnancy, I will hold you and Trisha responsible. Stop this now. And that's the one that Trisha's like, oh my gosh, she put it on me. It's so vile, evil, disgusting, blah, blah, blah. And Brittany did say, like, oh, she thought that was quite savage. And I'm just going to say right now, my mom would do the same thing. My mom would be like, that's my grandchild in there. It was difficult already. And you're just causing so unnecessary stress because you can't help yourself spiraling out of control. So to me, I was like, man, what Donna said was so freaking tame.
I think where I'm like, I think where I come from on it is I'm like, okay, it's YouTube drama. I get, but I think what's hard is for me to understand it is, you know, their family. Like for them, it's family and not just, oh, we got into a fight, you know, oh, you know, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I got distracted. My phone started going crazy. Somebody's trying to call me. They know we're talking about Trisha Paytas. But I think it's like, for me, I'd be like, oh, you can't put that on a person as like, oh, the ultimate I win card of like this useless drama and blah 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 blah. And I go, okay, you know, is that going too far in a YouTube argument? But then I do remember that I'm like, Trisha has been very ugly towards Gila. And I know
She literally called her the C word. And then Trisha, and that's another contradiction of Trisha. Trisha's trying to sit there and say, like, oh, I've never had anything against Gila. And people are like, the second time you quit frenemies is because you literally went on this like tangent about how awful Gila was.
Yeah. It's like that's where I'm like, it's hard because I think, you know, if my mom had died, I'd be like, oh, mom, you can't do that, you know, blah blah blah.
Well, and I will say, and I'm sorry to interrupt, I will say Ethan was like, Ma, really? Like, and I do agree that is a lot to put on a person. I'm just saying that I don't think it's the most vile, evil, disgusting thing. Like, Trisha has a tendency to over exaggerate on things, or maybe she just simply doesn't know what type of words to use to express her feelings in some ways. Because to me, I was like, that's just a grandma concerned about her unborn grandchild. And she's pretty much saying that this is just YouTube drama that you're taking way too far. Sorry, go ahead.
I think no, I was just agreeing. I think that's the hard thing is because at the end of the day, I think that's the thing that I need to remember, like when I do listen to all these like I like to listen to Boblex because like he does like the Twitter verses and that helps me keep up more like with like the linear fashion of like what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like I hear all these things and I'm like, I let it eat me up too much because you think about it because all you do is think about it. And then whenever you're like, oh, it's not that big a deal and it's not normally that bad. And it is just YouTube drama. And Trisha's been like this a lot. And, you know, and then I go, well, it is her, you know, the like for the mom, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, it is your unborn grandchild. It's been difficult. You know, she's, I think like she made 27 TikToks to the one tweet. Yeah, and I was like, okay, this getting a little excessive. It's like I know H3H3 has had their own problems, especially Ethan, because I do think he's very dramatic. But I think that's kind of the point of them is to be dramatic.
Well, and I'll say this. First of all, I will say I don't like Keemstar. But
yeah,
I don't think it's entirely the worst thing that Trisha went on Keemstar. You know, I mean, of course
I don't either.
Of course she went there probably with the intent. I think that she's playing a little dumb now by saying, I just talk to people. I think she went there intentionally wearing the frenemies merch, right after a fight with Ethan.
Yeah.
I think that was very intentional, but I don't think, so it's like her going there. I was like, wow, I didn't think that was that bad. Ethan did tweet saying that like he was sad about it, but in response, then Trisha did like the 40 something TikToks on it.
Yeah. I was gonna say really quick on that note, it's kind of like on that note, maybe if Ethan wants her kind of like out of their life, it's like, or to calm down, it's like she does have the right to go where she wants and do podcasts that she wants.
So I do agree with that. I don't know if you listened to H3H3's like whole thing though on Trisha showing up to Keemstars. He did point out something really interesting. I'm not going to go into the whole Keemstar girlfriend thing. I don't feel like GVN getting struck down, but I will say the one thing that Ethan pointed out about Keemstar is that the podcast is only like 30 minutes long. And then when you listen back at because I actually listened to the whole podcast, believe it or not. I was interested. I couldn't help it. I listened to the whole entire Keemstar Trisha podcast. And literally they are talking and then Keemstar literally just like cuts her off and he's like, oh, sorry, we have to go. We have to go. My producer has to go. Sorry. And she's like, oh my God, it was so short. He's like, yeah, we have to go. Sorry. And then like apparently a hour or so later, he had Gabby Hanna on his show. And so it was kind of, so it was kind of like.
It was almost like a savage attack.
Well, that's what H3H3 was saying. They're like, you don't even realize that you got used by this guy, essentially. He just had you on and then literally just shooed you out of the freaking studio and then brought Gabby Hanna, who he knows you hate, onto a podcast.
I forgot that he stood up a lot for Gabby during the Trisha thing. Because Trisha was like, oh, she's if she kills me, it's on you, Keem.
Yes.
I forgot about that. And then he put her there. Oh my God. Oh, it's savage. And my God.
Hang on, keep talking. I got a point to make though.
I just didn't realize. I was like, oh my God. I was like,
and then
I listened to that whole video.
Well, then I don't know if you remember, there's a part where Keemstar goes, well, what would you do if I brought on Gabby Hanna? And Trisha's like, oh, I'd bolt out the door. And H3H3 pointed out going, I think Keemstar was testing the waters to see if maybe you should like text Gabby Hanna and be like, well, why don't you pop on?
Oh my God. It's just I don't even know what to say. That just has me for a loop.
That's why I could never be a drama channel. It's way too much.
It's because it's like you can report on a drama. Like that's why I'm like, I'll just guess it a little bit. But once you start talking about it and giving your own input on it, it starts putting you like in the middle of it. Like in the middle, like because there's a response, and then people are like, let me look into you and know I want to know every bad thing you've ever done in your life. Like people get intense and scary about it.
No, they do, absolutely. And somehow right now Trisha Paytas is in her home going, someone's talking about me.
Oh my God. No, the way you just suddenly did that, I was like, who's talking about you? And then I was like, what?
And I will say one last thing about it. Like, I'm not, even though I'm a H3H3 fan, like, as I said before, Ethan has his faults as well. Some of the people that he's friends with are very questionable. But you know what I'm saying. But his wife Hila Klein is amazing, I will say. I own a Teddy. I own some Teddy Fresh stuff, and I think she's like an icon.
I want a Teddy Fresh hoodie so bad, but they're so expensive.
That's why I do Afterpay. So
I know. I always want, like, with it getting colder, I always want to, like, I have extra money. It is. I have extra money.
It is really good material. I'll say that. It is surprisingly, because you think a lot of these YouTubers selling their merch that it wouldn't be, say, like the best material. We, though, at GVN, of course, have great material.
We have the best merch.
But Teddy Fresh is like a nice apparel store. But anyway, Is there anything else you want to add about the Trisha Paytas drama?
I think I'm good. I feel like I just have really enjoyed talking this way because I like it just being so free.
It is very free. Before we wrap things up tonight, I did say that we would try to do like gaming stuff at the end. Did you have any updates or anything that you'd want to shout out there in the gaming world? I know I
Uh,
sprung that on you.
I'm trying to think. I can think of Twitch drama going on right now. I can think about I'm really excited because WarioWare is putting a new game out and it comes out in September and I'm excited about it. Um I could think about some of the games I've been playing. I don't know, it's hard.
Ollie, do you want to come here and add your No Man's Sky update? You said no. Well,
Okay, I will say neat fact about No Man's Sky. I originally bought it when it came out. I remember I traded in so many 3DS games for it. So many 3DS games for it. And then it was when it sucked wiener. Like it was not good. Like I remember me and Aaron took it, like we took both of our gaming laptops, went to my parents' lake house and we're relaxing there because it was our way of like getting away and just doing our own thing. And we sat there and I remember it was so boring, so boring. And I was sitting there, I was like, and now I hear it's so freaking amazing and it's so cool and everybody's playing it and it's the coolest.
They've updated a lot and they've added things and they've like taken care of those glitches. Believe me, when Paulie first got No Man's Sky, it's like I didn't see him for like months because it'd be like, oh, you good there?
No, that's the hard thing. Is everybody says it's so good, and I know Polly loves it. I guess I still have like a bad taste in my mouth where I'm like, can I be hurt again? I haven't played it since that way
about the game. Like they're like, oh, am I gonna be hurt again by this?
Don't hurt me no more.
Don't hurt me no more.
Don't hurt me.
Well, Brittany, make sure next coffee break you have a gaming update for us. All right.
I know. I'm sorry. All I can think about is the new Pokemon games are gonna look amazing, and I'm really excited for them because they're so cute and they're customized. And who doesn't want to catch beautiful Pokemon? I was gonna say cute, and it came out as beautiful.
Okay. It can be beautiful too. It's fine.
Pokemon
beautiful. Are beautiful, some of them. But anyway, that is our second episode of GVN's Coffee Break. As you can tell, it's a lot more relaxed, a lot more laid back. I liked our topics, very drama-ish. I
love it.
Brittany, would you like to plug yourself? Let everyone know where they can find you, what you got going on next.
I was gonna say you can always find me on Twitch at Itty Bitty Brit, and I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley, a lot of Getting Over It, which makes me want to bash my head against the wall, makes me sad. Mario Kart 8, just have had a really good time. I'm really excited because I got my laptop up and running again, so hopefully I can make some different content. I say that every time because I'm hoping to hold myself accountable. But besides that, so you can follow me on Itty Bitty Brit at both Twitch and YouTube, and then my Twitter is Itty Bitty Brit 0. I make it nice and easy for you.
Nice and easy. Make sure everyone that you check Brittany out. She's a very dedicated streamer who spends a lot of her time trying to entertain you all. As for me, please check out my review of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's out on geekvibesnation.com right now. I'll link that below. I have an interview with Tim Rosen, who played Doc Holliday on Winona Earp, and he's also on the new sci-fi show Surreal Estate. And yeah, make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, which you're watching this on right now. And if you want to follow our social medias, Geek Vibes Nation, we're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere and anywhere. And if you want to check me out, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at TC_Star. Let us know maybe what you'd like us to talk about on the next coffee break. But until then, we will see you next time.
Bye guys.